Welcome to the Soulful Parenting Podcast, hosted by Anitra Rice.
Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that today's conversation includes discussion of suicide and the loss of children. We approach this sacred topic with the utmost respect, focusing on love, healing, and the importance of mental health awareness. If this content feels too heavy for you, please honor that feeling. There is no shame in stepping away and protecting your peace. If you or someone you love is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please know that help is available. There are notes in this show. There are show notes that will give you resources and tips. And make sure you reach out for any kind of support that you need. Find a trusted friend or mental health professional. Your life has value and you are not alone. I am excited because I get to have a conversation with a new friend. Shout out to Lori Beckhofer because she is the one that connected us. I don't know if you remember that.
I forgot. I was trying to remember, like,
how did we meet?
Oh, yeah.
Via email. This is a whole blind date.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So tell me about your family.
My babies. They're not babies, but they're always my babies.
Yeah.
I had my oldest is Josiah, Jaden, and Nicholas.
Okay.
Josiah would have been 26 years old yesterday. Yesterday was his 26th heavenly birthday. Jaden would have been 24, and then Nicholas is 19. And I'm a boy mom, and I love my guys. So they're amazing. Josiah was a junior at Michigan State University. He double majored in psychology and criminal justice with a minor in law, order, and public policy.
Wow.
Oh my
that
God.
was a lot.
It was a lot.
Okay.
And he worked with his one and only Black professor, Dr. Caston Anderson, and Dr. Cass mentored Josiah. He was planning on mentoring him through to his doctorate.
Okay.
And Josiah worked with him on graduate level research as an undergrad, a junior. And his after Josiah passed, his work was published.
Oh.
Yeah, posthumously.
Okay.
And a journal article that was peer reviewed. And shame on me, I can't remember call it menopause or premenopausal, but I cannot remember the name.
We had that conversation.
I know of the article, but
it's okay. If you find it, we will put it in, and we will put it in the show notes. Yes. We will certainly do that.
I'm so proud of my baby. So yes, he was listed as his name was listed first on the research. And from what Cass told me, that meant that he was the lead researcher on the project. So I was like, it was just such a blessing. And Jaden, he was studying business in college at Muskegon College, and he was there on a wrestling scholarship.
Nice.
In his senior year, he placed fourth in state for wrestling championship. So, and he was an entrepreneur. He had his own business with his cousin, where he made hair care products for men.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know. My guys are amazing. They're amazing.
Boy moms always have a special place in my heart. I feel like moms that are assigned boys are really special. It's just a whole different thing. I don't know what that is.
It feels like such an honor.
To raise a king.
I feel like I'm special, like I've been chosen, I think my guys, I call them my guys. My guys, their hearts are so tender. And I say they are because even though Josiah and Jaden transition, and we'll talk about that, into eternity, they're still with me.
Sure.
And they're still very much alive. They're not here physically, but they're very much alive. And they're just, when they were in their earthly bodies on this earth, they were just so tender. And I think one of the gifts that they've given me as their mother is to now be an advocate for men and to be able to be present with men in a way that I would not have been had I not been their mothers.
Yeah.
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 So
That's cool. This season is about being champions for our children. And when I say champion, like what comes up for you?
what comes up for me being a champion, ah, being able to listen
Mm.
and to actively listen, to listen without judgment, or if you have a judgment, to be able to recognize that that's a bias or a judgment,
Mm.
and to be present and to be able to speak on behalf of someone or um, to apologize as well.
Mm.
Yeah. When I think of champion, I think of that.
Who was your first champion?
Ooh, golly.
You said like it was BC. It wasn't that long ago.
I know. Who was my first champion? Gosh, that's so interesting. I think my mom.
Okay. And how did that show up?
Mm. Oh, this is like what immediately comes to mind was when I was, I think I was in middle school, and we had this substitute teacher, and he was not right,
Mm.
and he was showing kids in our classroom inappropriate material.
Okay.
And I went home and I told my mom about it. And she went up to the school
Come on, Mama Bear.
and she had some words.
Mm. As she should.
Mhm. And yeah. And he was no longer there. He was fired. And out of all the kids that he had shown the material to, I was the one to speak up.
Mm.
And I remember his words were, "Well, I thought this is what they look at. I thought that this is what, that the kids would do." And I remember the principal was just just beside himself and was angry. And I was in the meeting with everyone. And yeah, my mom she was my advocate. She was my champion. She was like,
Uh-uh.
not my
Ain't it?
baby. Not these babies. So yeah, my mom.
So what kind of parent are you?
Oh, definitely a mama bear.
Okay.
Oh, I'm definitely a champion, a fierce advocate. Um, I think about my sons and their mental health journeys, Josiah and Jaden, and Nicholas too. Nicholas, I've been able to parent him differently because of his brother's stories and the things that I've learned because of my intentionality with them,
Mm-hmm.
even pre and post death.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to parent Nicholas even more intentionally with the lessons I've learned. But oh yeah, I'm a fierce advocate, just very, very intentional. So the part about apologizing,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm very, very self-reflective. And so me looking over my life and looking over how I've parented them and making room for them to say, "Mom, you messed up,"
Mm.
or "Mom, this hurt me." There was this conversation that Josiah and I had, and it was some years back. And of course, he's been gone for 5 years now, 5.5 years now. But it was, I think it was right after he graduated from high school, and we did a Facebook Live. And the title of it was Parenting Mistakes and Redemption.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm. It was really powerful. I just looked at it again like a couple of weeks ago.
Huh.
It was so powerful. And I was interviewing Josiah, and I was asking him about something that we spoke about in private where when they were little, I homeschooled them.
Okay.
And golly. I went into it with so much insecurity. Um, I knew that it was something that it was the best thing for them and that I was making a wise choice, but I had all of these thoughts, or not even just thoughts, but people's opinions and family. You know, I'm a black family. We don't homeschool. What you in the early 2000s? What? Put them kids in school. So,
Yes.
but and so I was like, I was a lot of pressure that I felt and that I put on my children. Josiah was reading when he was like 3.
Wow.
And it wasn't because I was pressuring him. He was just really talented.
Okay.
But then I was pressuring him in other ways. And so one of these days I did something horrible. It was his penmanship. It was slightly illegible.
Giving the little doctor.
Yeah, a little doctor. And he was brilliant in so many ways, but his penmanship, it was like, yeah. So he was like 8 years old, and he had written in his journal, his composition notebook, he created this story. And he and his brother Jaden, they were 18 months apart in birth and 16 months apart in death. And so they were, close in age and everything, but they created this imaginary world. And they would act it out, and just, when they would play. And so Josiah wrote about it.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was an amazing story. And I came to check his work, and instead of seeing, and he worked intentionally for like 45 minutes or something. He was like working, 8 years old. I looked at it and I ripped it apart. And I was so upset. I was just like, look at this, and this is so sloppy, and this is this, and this is that. And he was so hurt. And because of my own stuff, my own stuff, I wounded him deeply. And so, I didn't stop there. I took his pencil and I erased it. I know, right? I know. It was like, so fast forward to who I am now. I'm like, Anitra. He was devastated. And so he balled up his little tiny 8-year-old fist, not to come at me, but he was so angry, understandably so. He had a right to be at 8 years old. He had a right to be pissed with his mama.
Yeah.
And so he decided to run away. I went upstairs, and, he said he stood there at the door for a while, and then he left out. And it took me a while to be able to get him to come back home. Of course, I went after him and everything. And so, we got through that. But then I didn't know until many years later, like around, he was like maybe 16 or so. I didn't know how deeply wounded he was because of that, and how it had literally stunted his development in certain ways of creativity.
Okay.
And so after the divorce and everything, their dad and I divorced. Josiah was like 10, almost 11, and Jaden was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
And Nicholas was just a little guy. And so after that time, I was in therapy. I put them in therapy. We were working through all this stuff. I was, just trying to figure out me, what was going on inside of me, the pain and the root of it and all of that. And, and then as I began to grow and heal and all of that, I went back to school. I was teaching. I have a master's in education, so I was a teacher. And then I went back to school. I felt this calling to do more with my community and with parents. And I became a life coach. And so in that, I began to just create room and space for Josiah. And there was this moment. We were in our dining room, and I began to talk to him, and I just had this extra sense that there was something he needed to tell me. It wasn't anything in our conversation. I just felt it in my gut, like an intuition. And I said, baby, there's something you need to tell me. I was like, there's something that I've done that I've wounded you, and you need to say it to me. And I said, I don't care how you say it. I was like, if you need to cuss, If you need to scream, if you need to yell or whatever, however you need to say it, I'm here and it's okay. And he began to share with me the story when he was 8 years old. And it was just, he was so free. And after that, it was like this weight was lifted off of him. And then all of a sudden, I remember like this creativity just began to flow and pour from him. Like he began writing songs. He was writing all of this poetry.
Wow.
And it was just like, it was amazing. And so he spoke about that during our Facebook Live and how me giving him permission and how me apologizing to him and saying I was wrong and asking for his forgiveness, it freed him. And he said it was easy for him to forgive me because of the relationship that we have. And he said, me and my mom are really close. And we were close even before that.
Okay.
But this just opened it up even more, where it was this mutual respect and this healing that's happened, between us. So
that's beautiful. I'm gonna ask you for that too. I'm like, give me that link too.
Oh
So
yeah,
you put that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah.
So when you think about the journey that you have been on with your sons, when did you begin to see red flags as it related to mental health?
Ooh, the divorce. It was the divorce. It was prior to that, my guys were living in like their own made up world.
Yeah.
They had we homeschooled, we were involved in a homeschool community. They had their friends, they had neighborhood friends. So they were, very social. I know that's a stereotype that people think that, when kids are homeschooled, they're not socialized. But my kids were very, very social. They were playing sports. They had a bunch of friends. And they were so imaginative, so creative. And then the divorce happened. And the issues with their dad and I, it wasn't that we were yelling at each other or, all of those, that would give them markers. They were more subtle and more quiet. There was one incident where we had this argument and Jaden overheard it, but that was one incident. It wasn't like, the pain was more insidious. It was beneath the surface and it was between he and I. And I don't want to, go into all of that, but it was the pain that they endured with that shattered them. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was homeschooling and all of that. My then husband made the decision to no longer pay the house note. And so our house went into foreclosure. It wasn't that we couldn't afford it. It was a decision that he made.
Yeah.
And so that meant that with the divorce that they didn't really see coming, we lost our home. We had to stop homeschooling. At the time, I had my bachelor's is in music, so I had to figure out, I was planning, like, what am I going to do next? Because I didn't want to go to be a music teacher. And so I went back to school in grad school. I became a substitute teacher at their school, and I was, just trying to make things happen. At the same time that I was going through a divorce, my mom and my stepfather, they got married when I was pregnant with Josiah, when I was married and pregnant with Josiah. But my mom and my stepfather, the only grandfather that they knew from me, because my father is deceased and he died when I was a little girl, they were divorced. They were divorced in the exact same time that their dad and I divorced. My mom moved to North Carolina, and their grandfather that they knew moved away, and they never saw him again. And then the year prior to that, my sister and her family moved out of state. And these are people that we were really close to, that they saw all the time. So it was all of this major loss. Their parents broke up. They had to move out of their childhood home where they had made all of these memories. They had to, move away from their friends in the neighborhood. We had to stop homeschooling. I filed for divorce that February. And then we moved into my mom's home, I think, that March, because she moved out. And so she allowed me to assume her mortgage, and I moved into her home. How did I pay for it, right? Because I didn't have a job.
Mm.
I used my stipend from so I enrolled in grad school. And so when I would get the money back from financial aid, I would pay for different things.
Yeah.
I just had to make it work. And then I didn't start working until that August when their school started and everything. But all of this loss, Josiah wrote about it in his journal.
Mm.
And they would talk to me about it all the time. And then it's their dad immediately started seeing someone else.
Mm.
And it was someone that we knew. And I won't get into that. But it was someone that they knew, that we knew. But it was painful. She wasn't always kind.
Oh.
And it was really, really painful. And so it felt like another loss
Mhm.
because they would go to see their dad, but she would be there.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, it was just a couple of months. It was, I think, September of 2019, and Josiah left December 2019. I I surprised him with this like really fun day when we went to go see Josiah when he was up at school for Labor Day, and I surprised him to get tattoos, and they got matching tattoos, Josiah and Jaden,
Okay.
and it was the address
Oh.
from their childhood home.
Is that what they chose? And that's what they chose?
They chose it.
Mm.
It was 11767,
Mm.
which was the address, the home they grew up in, because it was a line of demarcation. It was before the divorce and after the divorce. And that's when, after the divorce, or during the divorce and after the divorce, the bottom fell out.
Yeah.
And it was never able to really get back stable again. It was foundationally what they thought they knew was gone. Like they had two parents in the home that loved them, that we did things together. We had family time and did all these things that they thought was, their identity. And then we would have family things together with, both sides of the family getting together for birthdays. I remember Josiah's first birthday when he turned 11 during the divorce. Nobody came. And it was devastating for him. And so it was, then you go into, okay, we're no longer homeschooled, so we have to go into traditional school now, which was fine because like I said, they were involved in a co-op when they would take classes and stuff like that. But it was still different.
Yeah.
Josiah was an avid learner. He loved knowledge. He read like every book in the house, and I have a huge book collection. He would just read just for fun. And going to traditional school, he was angry because the kids didn't value learning like he did.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating for him. And it was really tough to just adjustment. So I tried to keep certain things in order to give them stability, like they were in karate. So I was like, okay, you're going to stay in karate. I'm going to figure it out. And the karate our sensei, he was really helpful in just giving me a significantly discounted rate. And like we were in church, we're going to church every Sunday, just to try to give them some stability and things like that. We had our special nights. So the custody agreement was they would go with their dad every other weekend, and then once during the week. And so whenever they were with me, they had my undivided attention. There was no dating, there was no anything, me not on the phone. It was just me and my guys, and we we called them our special nights. And I love to cook. Well, more so when they were here. No, I've cooked all these years. I'm like, I'm good now. But, but I would like find different recipes or like things that we would have eaten at a restaurant, and I would make it at home.
Oh, okay.
Including
Nice.
desserts. Like we would have, I would cook something and then we would have a dessert. And Jaden was my sous chef. So he would like help me in the kitchen or make the dessert and things like that. And then we would watch a movie or play a game. And it was our tradition. And it went on throughout their lives. And is what we did. And it was, we would go to karate and then come home and we would have our special night. And Nick and I just had our special night last night. And, but yeah, but the mental health decline started with loss.
Could you see it? That was a lot for you to be in and to navigate at the same time. Did you notice it, or is this after like reflection?
No, I noticed it. I
Okay.
had him in therapy too.
Okay.
So that's why I said I'm a fierce advocate. So as much as I addressed, the things that I didn't see, I now address in Nick.
Okay.
So, for example, my guys and I were really close, and they told me so much, but I think there was a lot that they did not know how to tell me that I found out after they passed through their journals and through their writings, their relationship with themselves. And now I'm a licensed therapist, and so now I know, I understand how trauma affects people, and if it affects and impacts the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, and the way we see our safety in the world. And it affects our feelings of power and control. So with my sons, I didn't, at that time, I didn't know that the trauma of all of this loss, all of this significant loss, impacted, and then the way that things played out during the divorce and things like that, just different things. I didn't know how it severely impacted their view of themselves. But that's what trauma does.
Yeah.
But I had no idea. And so I wasn't able to address it. And that breaks my heart. The gift that keeps on giving with my sons is that we were and are so close. And the day Jaden left, he called me. He was like, "Mom, I need your email address. I want to send you something." He sent me all of his poems. He wanted to release a poetry book, and he sent them to me. And I reading them, his pain just bled out onto the page. And it was pain that I would ask him about, but he didn't know how to articulate. As a young man, he didn't have the words to say, "Well, Mom, this is what I'm feeling," and da 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 da, but he wrote it down. And so now my journey of healing and being present to Nicholas has been to learn the power of self-compassion and how that allows us to hold space for our pain and to begin to heal it, even the pain that we may have caused or inflicted, to be able to hold space for that truth and that reality, to be gentle enough to see our entire selves and to hold ourselves accountable and to be able to bring healing to our hearts in that process and to live out authentically and live out in love and truth with others.
What I love about what you're saying is that, for one thing, I rarely hear moms acknowledge their boys as tender. And the way that you made space for that, and for a boy to even have a journal, like, it seems like the way that you held them. So, I admire that. I really, really do.
Thank you. I'm not perfect, and I wasn't perfect, but I was very, very, and still am very, very intentional. And like I said, I'm very, very self-reflective. And so everything that I would learn in my own healing, I would take it back to my sons. Like, "All right, guys, this is what I learned about me. And this is how I sucked as your mother. Let's work on this." Or, just creating space and room for them to have their own experiences and to talk to them about their emotions.
Yeah.
Josiah was so emotionally intelligent. I have to send you that link because he's so brilliant. He was just, I want to release both of their poetry books. Jaden's, I don't want to release it as is. Josiah's, I can release his as is. But Jaden, I want to collaborate with other men who've gone on their healing journey, and where they would interact with him through his poetry. And so that they would look at one of his poems and they would write something in response to it.
Wow.
As a way of healing for him, so that when other young men look at it, they can, then maybe feeling the way that Jaden did, they can receive healing from like a big brother or a father figure or an uncle or something like that through these men.
I can literally feel the people that are behind me and all the emotion that they have. That is going to be amazing. So amazing.
Yeah.
And you want to release. Okay. When? What we doing this, girl? You got me all excited.
No, I have so many ideas. So I don't. So that one is like so heavy in my heart to do. I don't have the people yet. The reason why I'm speaking it because I felt like I needed to speak it because I think there's someone who's going to connect with me from this with that. But yeah.
Oh, this is happening. Just this is happening. Go ahead.
Yes, but I think it's so like Josiah. Some of his poetry was shared at his homegoing service, and it was powerful. And his cousin memorized it like that and recited it in front of the attendees at his services. And I had so many men coming up to me like, can I have a copy of that? I'm like, no. This is, like, give me, we can work on the book and you can buy that. But yeah, and Jaden also at Josiah's service presented a poem that he had written just for Josiah. And on their gravestones are like the length of their graves. And I had each one of their poems etched into their graves as a way to say, this isn't over, guys. Mommy got you.
When you lost your first son, I can't even imagine how you can even have the mindset to keep going. Talk about how you held on to your remaining babies and what that looked like, or walk beside them.
Losing Josiah, it was. He wasn't just my son, or he isn't just my son. He said to me, he said, Mom, you're not just my mom. Oh, you're one of my closest friends.
I'm about to give it to you.
I know. That was my baby. Like, my guys, oh, they are something else.
Oh, my goodness.
And so losing him, I felt like I lost my breath. We had the best conversations because he was studying psychology. And I was also, at that time, I was in my second master's program for marriage and family therapy. So that was my dude.
That was processing and doing having all kind of deep conversations.
Yes. That was my dude. Like, Josiah, taking abnormal psychology. Oh, yeah, what you think about this? And he's like, Mom, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, really? Like, it was brilliant. And the crazy part is, like, I'm intelligent. I know that I'm intelligent. He thought way higher of me than what I feel like I actually am. I would just look at him like, you are so brilliant. Like, his mind was amazing. So I felt so lost and so empty when Josiah left. And Jaden, golly, it was hard because Jaden was like Josiah was everything to Jaden. That was his best friend. Like I said, they were 18 months apart in birth. And so that was his best friend. That was his, even though they were 18 months apart, Josiah was very much the big brother.
Mm.
And Jaden was like the little brother that would go visit his brother. They would like party together. Like, Josiah was at Michigan State and Jaden was at Muskegon, and sometimes he would go to visit Josiah on the weekends to hang out with his brother and his friends. And so Jaden was also, like I said, just struggling with his identity and who he was and things like that. And so in 2019, before Jaden passed, before Josiah passed, I'm sorry, Josiah passed December 2019. But that year, it was like they were tag teaming each other in and out of the hospital. So Josiah started having manifestations of OCD and other mental health disorders beginning that April. And so he was hospitalized in Lansing. And then he came out and, was getting back to his life. And then Jaden graduated that May. And then in July, Jaden was in the hospital like twice or something like that, in and out. And then he went away to school.
Mm.
And then he started having mental health issues up at school. Just that particular season of life for young people is really, really hard. That transitional phase of of graduating high school, going into college and things like that. Sometimes families mean well, but they put too much pressure on kids to know everything and to be everything and to have everything figured out when they don't. And we didn't either.
Yeah.
And it's going to be okay. And it's okay if they don't know, but we don't give them that permission to you say, life is like this. Sometimes you may have career changes. Sometimes you might change your major. Let me help you to get to know yourself and normalize this experience for you.
Yeah.
And so with Jaden, he went away to school, and it was like a week or so before, or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, he had a suicide attempt, another one. And so he was had to drive up to Muskegon. It was this thing, and then Thanksgiving happened. Then a week or two after Thanksgiving, Josiah completed. So Jaden was still in the throes of his own mental health crises when he lost his best friend, his brother, his big brother. And so afterwards, I'm navigating my grief and fiercely trying to keep Jaden alive. And Nicholas also was grieving and having his own struggles with mental health. And it was just like, at one point, it was like, Lord, so what? This is my conversation with God. So you're going to take all my kids? And I was like, all right, bet. I'm not going to be here. So I was hospitalized because it was just Jaden had another suicide attempt. I don't even think we had Josiah's funeral yet. And it was just like, I can't deal with this. And so I'm grateful that, when I was hospitalized, it was a reset for me. And I was like, okay, I was able to get my bearings back. And then COVID. Just, it was like,
We did not have the right stuff in this cup. I can tell you that right now.
I was like, and so the crazy part was, in a way, COVID was beneficial for the isolation because I was able to teach online. I was a teacher still.
Okay.
And then Nicholas was able to go to school online. And so it gave me more freedom.
And school closed in Muskegon. He came home.
So Jaden was away just for that first semester from like September 2019 until Josiah's passing in December 2019.
Okay. And then he just stayed home.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then he stayed home. And he finished his work, though, at home and turned it in. So he was able to complete that semester. And then it was like COVID and it was just like all of that stuff. So Jaden was in and out of the hospital throughout 2020. And ooh, it was hard. He and I were still very, very close. I was his person. I was a person he would talk to, but I was also the person that, because I was so close to him, I was the person when he would have these emotionally charged pain episodes, I was the person he took it out on. And then, there would be this reconciliation and everything, but it was like these cycles. So it was tough, and I had to create a community around me of people that I could rely on because I couldn't do it by myself. And so I had just a select group of people that um, I could reach out to and be honest with, and I could cry with. And so I was doing all the things. I was in therapy online. Nicholas was in therapy online. Jaden was in therapy. I was trying to figure out different non-traditional ways to help him with medication and things like that. So he was trying different alternative medicines and things like that with a holistic psychiatrist. We were doing just all the things. Um, yeah. And it feels like the moment where he felt like he couldn't hold on any longer, I was just starting to make breakthrough in what I understand now, what was the root of what was going on with them,
Mhm.
and how I could really help them. And I was just starting to like really understand it. There was this certain modality of therapy called internal family systems that I love, that I believe could really help Jaden. And then understanding mindfulness, self-compassion and all of that. I was just starting to like to really to understand it. And I was still a student at the time in my grad program, but I was always researching. I was always looking to, because I'm that mom.
Mhm.
And I remember it was just like days maybe before he left. Um, he said he was telling me about these dreams that he kept having of him taking his life, and he felt overwhelmed by them. And he was like, he wanted to write a letter to the suicidal part and ask it, like kind of almost interview it, like, why are you here? What is it that you, because he didn't want to die.
Mhm.
It wasn't that he wanted to die. It wasn't that Josiah wanted to die. Josiah actually told me, he was like, um, just like maybe a few weeks before he died, he was like, Mom, I don't want to die. He was like, I just don't know how to live with all of this pain. People who take their lives, it's not that they're like, despise life. It's they don't know how to live with the pain, and they want the pain to stop. And in their minds, they've felt that they've done all that they know how to do to stop the pain, but it's still here. And so with Jaden, he was trying to figure it out. And I remember the therapist that he had was afraid of him going to that place. But now, as a therapist, I understand what he was doing.
Mm.
I get it.
Yeah.
He was trying to understand this part of himself that was, as suicidal parts come up, they're trying to be a protector.
Yeah.
They're trying to protect you from this pain. Now, it's not the best protector, but it's what the suicidal part is trying to do.
Yeah.
And so I was right there on the cusp of understanding more deeply. And so now that he's gone, and now that I've been able to read his work, and now I've done all this research for myself, and I help other people, and I've been able to pour all of that into Nicholas, and Nicholas is thriving. He's thriving to the point that he's now helping me with our summer program, which, will launch prior to this episode. But we've combined our skills. He studies acting in Manhattan. And so at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And so he studies acting there. And so we've combined his acting prowess, his understanding, and what I do as a therapist to help teens in healing arts drama.
And you got to back up 3 steps to tell us what you created.
Yes. Oh, yeah. What I created. Oh, okay. Yeah, I said a whole lot in there. I gave several stories, several books. So when Josiah passed away, before Jaden passed, I created a foundation called the FOL Foundation. So Josiah, his name means Fire of the Lord, Jehovah's Healing. And so as a poet, he would sign his poetry FOL.
Mm.
And that's what I put on his grave too. At the end of his poem, I put FOL, which means it means fire of the Lord. That's, what he came up with. And so I started the FOL Foundation, which is a non-religious organization, but it's a 501c3. And we serve the Black community with destigmatizing mental health and mental health awareness and through family programs. And so one of the programs that I created was healing arts drama. And so my youngest son, Nicholas, is our baby. That's what we do together. So yeah.
That must be.
Yeah.
Excited to do it
Oh
this
my
summer. It's going to
gosh.
be so much fun.
I'm so proud of him because the dramatic arts, along with therapy, was a way for Nicholas to heal.
Mm.
He found his tears through acting. Found his tears through acting. And I remember, and it's so interesting because I remember like kind of coaching him through it, like therapeutically, not as his therapist, but just some tools. And for him to just a way for him to gently be with those parts of himself that kept going like this against the pain and that were blocking his tears because he wanted to be able to cry on cue. So I was like, well, baby, what do helped him to get into his body and to like, what do you notice here? And da-da-da-da-da. And not knowing that the fruits of all of that would be healing arts drama. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, so many things. Okay, I realized like forever ago that you're going to have to come back because it's just too many. We're just not going to get this whole conversation. It's about 84 conversations. What do you want parents to know?
Heal. And be gentle with yourself in your own healing. And we parent from who we are, all of who we are. We parent from our strengths. We parent from our shadows. And when we don't recognize our shadows, it's going to come through in how we parent. And to be gentle with yourselves. And in order to hold ourselves accountable, we have to give ourselves self-compassion. There's a reason why you are the way that you are. There's a reason why you behave the way that you behave, you react the way that you react, and there's pain there. So to notice that, to recognize that, and to honor that, and to be compassionate and kind towards that, so that you can drop your defenses and be accountable to yourself and to others and to heal. And it will greatly impact the way you interact with your children and their ability to heal. And it's okay to say that you don't know and that you got it wrong, and to apologize to your children and teach them how to love and care for and like themselves. And the way that we do that a lot of times is the way that we interact with ourselves. But those are the biggest things: self-compassion, kindness, self-kindness, and to allow ourselves to apologize to our children and to listen to our babies. Yeah.
You ready for a few rapid fire questions?
Yes.
A Black movie that every kid should see.
I'm on Forever right now. But I don't know about kids though, because I was talking to Nick about it's kind of raunchy in some places. But I love that movie. Forever. I'm on Forever.
Have you ever been given an ugly gift from your child?
From my child. I was, some earrings came to mind, but it wasn't my child. It was one of their friends. So, no. Like, I actually had some earrings on the other day that Jaden bought me. So, no.
Look at you.
I know, right?
Well, I got some art pieces in my house, but I don't know what to do with. They shaped kind of funny. I don't know if it's the ashtray, a cup, a bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all the things.
Yeah. Lucky guys are always talented from when they were. I still have some of their art pieces from when they were little.
That's that good homeschool. See what happens when you send your kids to regular school. You get the misshaped bowls. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
welcome.
Last thing.
Mhm.
A love note to the babies.
To all babies?
To your baby.
My babies. Oh.
Yes.
I talk to them all the time, so I love you guys so much. I'm so proud of you, and I hope that you're proud of me. You make my life worth living. I have no regrets with your life. Well, I don't know if that's an honesty, but I love you so much. Mommy's so proud of you, and your legacy continues. Your legacy continues. And thank you for staying with me and sticking with me and Nick. And I'm looking forward to more years of living and loving and carrying your legacy throughout the earth. So, yeah.
Job well done, Mom.
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.